guys, welcome back to Rocket Gyan, my fellow space tubers. And I guess I've this time SpaceX started their stream early, so I'll be just very quick and switch over to them. So this time they are launching the NROL-85 mission, which will carry 2 satellites to space, and those are from NRO. So we don't know much about it. And talking about the mission profile, you can see from the mission profile that the first stage will be landing back to the landing zone 1, which means there won't be any drone ships. So you should expect some good landing shots, right? And the launch liftoff are very much nominal, as usual. And you can see we don't have many timeline because this is an NRO mission, so the stream would be cut just after the first stage lands. So I think that should be sum up. I'm sorry guys, but this time actually they started very early, so that's why I need to switch over to them now. Just a second. This is not what they do usually, but this time they did, so yes, it's okay. Yeah. Just okay, I'll talk about those mission things about this mission and everything here only, so don't worry about it. Right, so right now you can see the introduction is going on. So let me just talk you about this mission. So this mission is basically going to 1000 kilometer by 1200 kilometer orbit. That's the initial orbit in which the Falcon 9 would be going to, but we don't know the final wow, they have the old renders of the Falcon 9, but it's okay. So yeah, so I was saying that this will be going to 1000 by 1200 kilometers. We don't know the final orbit, but that's the initial orbit, and there are 2 satellites in this one. And talking about the first stage is using the reused version, and the first stage first supported the NROL-87 mission. So this is the second flight of the first stage, and other than that we don't have much information. But this is known as, we only know that this is NRO's Intruder mission, which is part of US Navy Naval Ocean Surveillance System. So those are the things.
So thank you all. You're why we are here today. The NROL-87 mission you saw in the video launched only 2 months ago, and the same booster from that video will be launching today's payload into space. NROL-85 also marks the NRO's 61st launch since public disclosure of launches began in December 1996. And it also marks SpaceX's 14th launch of the year. Now at T-minus 7 minutes 45 seconds, the conditions for today's launch are excellent. The weather is great, the front went through, and the high winds from yesterday are gone. Weather officer giving us a 0% probability of violation.
LD on countdown 1 with the hold authority comm check. Please respond with strength and clarity. NOPS OD.
Loud and clear.
STC.
Loud and clear.
TC.
Loud and clear.
PD.
Loud and clear.
That concludes the hold authority comm check.
Hearing comm checks on countdown net 1. Continuing on, the range is ready to support. They're green. Finally, both the vehicle and payload are in good health. Let's take a closer look at the rocket supporting today's mission. You can see on the screen the Falcon 9 surrounded with the condensing gas.
Start of engine chill.
As the atmosphere touches the cold first and second stages. That Falcon 9 is our 2-stage rocket. It stands 70 meters tall, making it just 3 meters short of the Taj Mahal in India. Now we're currently loading propellants onto both stages of the rocket. That began on time at T-minus 35-minute mark. And as we just heard, chill has begun at T-minus 7 minutes. Starting from the bottom, we have the first stage. We also refer to that as the booster. That makes up over 60% of the length of the Falcon 9 vehicle. And while it's designed to be reflown multiple times with minimal refurbishment between flights, today's first stage will be flying for the second time, as I noted earlier. The first stage is powered by 9 Merlin engines, and that's where the 9 comes from in Falcon 9.
Stage 1, RP1 load is complete.
Fuel loading complete on the first stage. Now these Merlin engines get Falcon 9 off the ground and up to the edge of space. 2 minutes and 20 seconds into today's flight, the first stage should separate from the second stage. And once the stages separate, the first stage will do a quick flip and execute 3 more burns to return to Slick 4 West, landing zone 4 that you can see here in a shot, and that's just 1,400 feet from where it took off. Now mounted on top of the first stage, just above that black cylinder, is the white second stage. Less than 10 seconds after stage separation, the second stage will light its single Merlin vacuum engine and continue to take the NROL-85 payload to its intended destination. Now, while very similar to the Merlin engines on the bottom of the first stage, the Merlin vacuum engine has a larger nozzle that allows the second stage to perform better in the vacuum of space. And at the very top of the stack, kind of surrounded in clouds, but that is the payload fairing, inside of which is the payload safely enclosed. That's a 17-foot diameter fairing, and that's the large cylindrical structure you can see there with the tapered nose. Now the fairing protects that satellite from aerodynamic heating, loads, and contamination during ascent. And once we reach the vacuum of space,
tanks are pressurizing for strong back retract.
once we get to the vacuum of space, we'll jettison the fairing halves while stage 2 continues to orbit. And as you can tell by the clean paint on the fairing, this is new hardware. We will also be attempting to retrieve the fairing halves using our recovery vessel, NRC Quest. Now, the National Reconnaissance Office, or NRO, is responsible for developing, acquiring, launching, and operating America's reconnaissance satellites, as well as operating associated data processing facilities in support of national security. These sophisticated systems are used to develop military targeting data, support international humanitarian relief operations, and assess the impact of natural disasters. As a reminder per the NRO, we will not be sharing any views from the second stage today. We'll be ending our webcast shortly after the planned first stage landing at the T+8 minute mark. We're just inside T-minus 4 minutes and counting. All systems continue to be go for an on-time launch. Range is green, weather is excellent, vehicle and payload continue to be healthy. Now, if for some reason we are not able to launch today, we do have a backup window tomorrow about 15 minutes earlier. Right now you can see the strong back is retracting away from the Falcon 9. The clamps opened up a little bit earlier. We're now moving away. It's moving from a position of 90 degrees upright to about 77 degrees. This is different from our East Coast launches where we move a couple of degrees at first and then pull further away at liftoff.
And it could be just
we're coming up on
the hardware requirements of the ground support equipments which is causing this thing, that here they are retracting it further back.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
There we go. Stage 1 LOX load is complete. That means we're still loading LOX on the second stage, but we've got almost 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen on the Falcon 9 right now. Meanwhile, the strong back is fully reclined at that 77-degree position. It's ready for liftoff. You can see a little bit of the views in those close-ups where you saw the umbilical stretching out. They're carrying the gas, communications, commands, and propellants to the Falcon 9 second stage.
So we are T-minus 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Everything is looking good.
5 seconds, we ought to hear completion of loading liquid oxygen onto the second stage.
And I guess
that will complete propellant loading for flight.
I don't need to say anything when he's on board, so
Farther into the countdown at T-minus 60 seconds, the rocket's internal flight computers on the first and second stages will take over the launch countdown, and just inside of 2 seconds, we'll light the Merlin 1D engines. Falcon 9 will command the ground to release the hold down clamps at T0 as we reach liftoff thrust. Waiting to hear the call out of liquid oxygen load complete on the second stage.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
That's what we're waiting for. We're on the mark. And right now, the NROL-85 payload team continues to be go, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds. We're now venting down the strong
Gas
back.
launch closeouts.
That's what they call the gas launch closeouts. That's why you're seeing the large cloud coming off the strong back as we bleed off the pressure and drain the liquid oxygen in the line. Makes for a great show right now in the pre-dawn morning out at Vandenberg.
we are T-minus 60 seconds almost. Everything is looking good. and you are seeing a good amount of clouds, and that is nominal. Startup vehicle is in startup, and just enjoy the launch now. I got to say a very little this stream, but let's see. But right now we are T minus 47 seconds. Everything is looking good. It is carrying 2 satellites to space, and we don't know much about it because that's a NRO mission, and we have a go for the
Now you've heard the
launch.
call out coming up on T minus 30 seconds. Mission director go for launch. Everything looking good for Falcon 9 and NROL-85.
So T minus, we are approaching lift off. T minus 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9,
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
ignition, and lift off.
Lift off the Falcon 9. Go NROL-85.
The exposure is just too much.
Pitching downrange.
Everything is looking good. Oh, that's an onboard
Stage
camera.
1, chamber pressure is nominal.
Everything is looking good, beautiful as always. And yes, Shakyu Zoo, if I pronounced your name all right, you are right about that. Beautiful rocket and presents humans' capability and power. Hope to use it to explore more unknown
We're
space.
T plus 42
Exactly.
seconds into the NROL-85 mission. We heard that first call
Power
out,
and telemetry nominal.
and power and telemetry are nominal.
So
We're now into the throttle down. Falcon 9 decreasing thrust to prepare for max Q, the highest amount of aerodynamic pressure.
and this time it is going having a steep
Vehicle
trajectory
supersonic.
because it's
Falcon 9 going faster than the speed.
it will be aiming for around 1000 kilometer of apogee, so it will be a very steep trajectory, and then the landing burn will also means the first stage will also land near the land on itself, so therefore yeah. Hi train spotter, how are you? Welcome to the stream. We are T plus 1 minute. Everything is looking good. Max Q has been passed. 20 kilometers
T plus
up.
1 minute 30 seconds. Everything continues to be nominal on Falcon 9. Trajectory looking good on the first stage.
Yep, things are looking great. T plus 1 minute and 42 seconds.
We should hear a call out here shortly. MVAC-D chillin'.
Wow, though the weather is very clear this time. We can see those plume growing, and we can even follow get those beautiful looking plume as well as the tracking
Invac
camera
engine chill has begun.
or the rocket.
Getting the second stage engine ready for ignition coming up very shortly here. We're getting ready for main engine cutoff, stage separation. The first stage will head back to the launch site. The second stage will ignite and head to orbit.
And we have Miko.
Nico.
Stage separation confirmed.
Stage separation confirmed, and we have ignition on the second stage as usual.
Invac ignition.
Whoa, see those
Stage 1
plume
boost back startup.
interacting with the first stage. That was great. It actually
No, you've heard
helped.
it. And we
The-
maybe even saw all those 5 events that happened back to back. Now currently on the screen, the first stage has begun its flip maneuver to reorient the nose back towards Vandenberg, and we have lit 3 Merlin engines. This is the boost back burn, the first of 3 burns the first stage will execute. This burn lasts a duration of about 48 seconds. Now, while the burn's in progress, we'll also be having events on the second stage, but we may not be hearing those. And we won't be broadcasting second stage camera views at the request of our customer.
Fairing
Okay,
separation confirmed.
And we did hear fairing separation over the net.
and we won't be getting
Boost
any.
back burn shutdown is coming up.
And we have a boost back
Stage
burn
1
shutdown.
boost back shutdown.
Right on time, we've got shutdown of the 3 Merlin engines. We'll next be waiting to see the titanium grid fins begin their deploy now that the boost back burn is complete. And here come the fins. Pin pullers releasing, and the 4 titanium grid fins beginning their slow deploy.
Those RCS plumes look so great, right? I mean, the view this
Coming
time
up on
is
4 minutes
just
in the
amazing.
launch. Now with that boost back burn done, our first stage will be attempting its land landing in just 4 minutes at T plus 8 minute mark. We're now heading back to the launch and landing site at Slick 4, but you'll notice the first stage has continued to coast up to apogee.
Okay.
You can see there on the screen we've got the altitude and speed indicators of the first stage, 132 kilometers.
That's
now we'll begin descending back down towards the Earth's atmosphere.
That's a very
There'll be
big
two more
apogee.
burns of the first stage engines. One will be the entry burn. That's the next one up. Again, where 3 of the Merlin engines will reignite the same 3 we just used on that boost back to head it back to Vandenberg.
This is
There's
the
a view
interstage
looking
camera.
out of the inner stage on the first stage. Second stage now gone, but that gives you an idea if you were sitting inside the inner stage what the view looks like out
Wow,
of it.
those RCS
There's a
plumes
view.
just
We're slowly getting
wow.
ocean and California clouds as the first stage continues to orient and head back towards the landing zone. Now the entry burn that I mentioned, it'll be coming up. That'll be to help slow the stage down in preparation for entry
Both
back.
vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
We got a
The
good call out
views are
there.
just awesome.
You may be able to see on the right-hand side above that right grid fin that kind of whiter squiggly line. I think that may be the contrail from the liftoff of the Falcon 9 as we're heading back right towards about that
Whoa.
spot, 1,400 feet away from the liftoff. Now you can see the altitude decreasing. We're down to just inside the 100.
Wouldn't be
The entry burn will light, and that'll scrub off some of that speed. Now in the
it would be
vacuum of
great,
space,
right, if this Falcon 9 interacts with the contrails of itself basically. So that would be great if that happens.
these thrusters are up on the inner stage near the top of the first stage. Now, right
Right.
now you can see the grid fins aren't doing anything, but once we get back into the atmosphere, look for them to begin moving because it's in the denser air that these fins provide that steering that we need of the vehicle during descent. Right now we're waiting for the entry burn to begin.
Okay, the entry burn starting up in 3, 2, 1,
Stage 1 entry burn
and
startup.
start up. And we have seen the grid fins.
We've heard start up.
There you go.
There's the center engine is lit. And now we've got 2 more engines up, changing the shape of the plume. Now, if you're watching the speed display, you'll notice the velocity is quickly coming down. Now, this burn will last about 21 seconds.
And we have not lost the
Stage
feed
1 entry burn shutdown.
yet.
And we've got shutdown of the entry burn. And if you're watching that speed display, you'll notice we took out about half of the velocity of the first stage. We've still got 1 more burn to go, and that's the landing burn. Now, during the first stage landing burn, the center Merlin engine will relight and slow the vehicle down for its second landing attempt back on land, not too far from our launch site.
Stage 1 FTS is safe.
And we are not losing
Flight
the stream.
termination system on the first stage has now been saved.
Okay, that means
Landing burn coming up in about 10 seconds.
we are getting close to the
Stage 1 is
landing.
transonic.
We can
Stage 2 FTS is safe.
feel those vibrations, right, from the video.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Landing one
We've got
stop.
landing burn. You see the grid fins beginning to operate.
Oh, that is so great. Through
We
the
need to come
clouds.
through the cloud deck for a view of landing zone 4 at the old Slick 4 West at Vandenberg.
Just wow. This must be
Stage 2 is
the
in terminal guidance.
best landing footage that I have ever seen. Whoa.
Landing leg
View from the
deployed.
ground camera, landing legs deploying.
Just
Stage
oh
1 landing
man.
confirmed.
SpaceX is just incredible.
And as you see on your screen, the Falcon 9 first stage has successfully landed at our landing zone, making this the second consecutive landing for this booster. And it also
Although-
marks our 114th overall successful recovery of a first stage booster. Now, since we just finished the landing of the first stage, at the request of our customer, we are concluding our webcast coverage early today.
It's a bit
We want to
you know,
thank the NRO and the
slanting
U.S.
a
Space
bit.
Force for entrusting us with
That's-
today's
that's
launch.
one thing.
And of course, thank you to all of you for joining us, and hope you'll all enjoy the rest of your weekend.
It's leaning on one side. It was actually leaning on one side, but oh my god. What a landing burn that was, landing sequence, I must say that. I mean, just wow, I have to see it once again. This has to be the best landing footage that I've ever seen. I have to see it once again for sure. I mean, just look at, you know, we were first of all, we didn't lose the feed, and second of all, those RCS plume. First of all, yeah, let me just collect everything. So first, the RCS plumes, those views were just awesome. Second thing, we didn't lose the live stream from the rocket. And third thing, wow, just when it went through the clouds and the engine was on, that was just so amazing to watch. That
Squiggly line, I think that may be the contrail spot. Now in the vacuum.
okay, let's just see it once again.
Right now we're waiting for the entry burn to begin.
And we can see those grid fins also in actions when the entry burn starts up, and that means the grid fins have started coming in action.
And now we've got two more engines up, changing the shape of the plume. Now if you're watching the speed display, you'll notice the velocity is quickly coming down. Now this burn will last about 21 seconds.
And we have the shutdown. And now see, now you can see those grid fins will have a much more control authority because it has entered the thickest part of the atmosphere, and RCS not so much.
Half of the velocity of the first stage. We've still got one more burn to go, and that's the landing burn. Now during the first stage landing burn, the center Merlin engine will relight and slow the vehicle down for its second landing attempt back on land, not too far from our launch site.
And this launch, as I said, was very steep, so it's just went up and then it is coming down, so it had to remove a much more velocity than it is intended to in normal missions.
Landing burn coming up in about 10 seconds.
Obviously there was a boost back burn, but you know, most part of it, you can say, it was just up and down. So now just wow,
we've got landing burn. You see the grid fins beginning to operate.
I have to see it once again. See those
through the cloud deck for a view of landing zone 4 at the old slick.
And we can see something vibrating here, although I mean, I don't know whether it's I think that's the landing leg, which is, but you know, see this view through the clouds and into the landing pad directly. Wow.
From the ground camera, landing legs deploying?
Yeah, that was one of those.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And landing confirmed, although it's leaning a bit, but I guess, and we also saw those vibrations here, so I guess there was one faulty leg. This thing SpaceX need to improve, because in previous missions also there was one faulty leg. I can, if I can recall properly, I don't know I can't recall the name properly of what was the mission, but I do remember it was very recent. So landing legs is a concern, as we all know. In the Starship also, landing legs, when the Starship was supposed to land, landing legs did not deploy properly. So yeah, they need to look at. But see this thing, they literally went through the clouds, did their entry burn and the landing burn. First of all boost back, then entry, then the landing, but everything was so phenomenal and marvelous to watch that I can just watch this again and again and again and again. This is so awesome, I must say that. So yes, thank you so much, Spot Center, for thank you for sharing and all the good work info you provide. I must you know, say this thing, that this month was not so, you can say, I was not so much active on YouTube, as well as fortunately for me, there was not many launches. So but now, from now onwards, things would be moving in a much better way on this channel, hopefully. Let's see, things are going in the background. once things are done, you will see those changes. So just a beautiful landing, in fact, Chris. Yes, it was. Thanks, Sneha, for that appreciation. But literally, SpaceX deserves all the credit for this one. They literally just all the time they have to reach that target, you know, from the orbital velocity, not the orbital velocity, but yeah, from space landing down to a drone ship or to the landing pad. And this time, and it's not just going up and down like Blue Origin, but much more complicated. So yes, kudos to them for doing this again and again and again successfully. So let's see if we do have any other updates in this one. See, we got one update that from and yes, some Chinese mission updates are going in. Yes, this one. NASA will roll the SLS rocket back to the vehicle assembly building in Florida before reattempting a wet dress rehearsal later this year. And the reason being this one. A faulty upper stage check valve and a small leak on the tail service mast umbilical. So this they have to now replace those faulty valve as well as this leakage. They need to treat this before they can do the wet dress rehearsal again. And they were supposed to do the wet dress rehearsal this week, or I mean to say much more before, like in this April only, but they weren't able to do that, and now we got to know why weren't they able to do that. So this would simply mean the SLS program, or you can say the Artemis 1 mission, would be pushed back, because SLS rocket is huge with, so you know, thousands, hundreds and thousands of components, that even if you you know, tinker with one of those components, you need to have a very stringent and a you know, a rigid plan of how do you go through the checks and everything. So this fault is not a good sign. It will make sure that SLS will get a delay now. I seriously hope that Artemis 1 mission at launches by this year end, because in, you know, earlier they thought by 2022 the people will be on the surface of the moon, but now it's 2022, but we haven't got even the first Artemis 1 mission. But yeah, ferrofluid, I have played with ferrofluid. Float in mid-air around the magnet. Wow, that's great. Sometimes, you know, these sciencey things just take my concentration away. But yeah, SLS having some problems. Other than that, we have any other update? No. Yes, Axiom 1 mission happened and I wasn't able to stream it because I was busy with my work. That is done now. But yeah, you know, let's see. The next mission coming up is from the, I think it's the Starlink mission, so won't be streaming that. But Electron is launching, means Rocket Lab is launching their Electron on 23rd April, and then the Crew 4 mission also on 23rd April. So that would be a busy day for me. Crew 4 is a important mission, which hopefully I'll be streaming. Hopefully, because it's the timing of Crew 4 mission is a bit odd for me. Let's see. I'll try my best. Okay, and yeah. We do have got, we actually got some updates from the ISRO also, the Indian Space Agency, that there are many things going on in ISRO right now. First of all, let me clear this: Chandrayaan 3 is not launching this year. The Gaganyaan is not launching this year, although the things related with Gaganyaan and Chandrayaan are progressing. But we will see, hopefully, the Aditya L1 mission, which is a mission to the sun, basically to the L1 point of the sun, to observe the sun. So let's see if that happens. And there are RLV mission which is supposed to happen. this April. That's a test mission. Okay, so we won't be having a stream. I seriously hope we do have a stream, but no, that's not gonna happen because that's a test mission. So yeah, other than that, nope, nothing like that. So I guess we can end this stream if you don't have any other question. But yes, so we need to look at this one. Obviously, how can I just switch off the stream without showing you this thing? I haven't seen the video. I'll see that. But yes, RLV, not the launch of the RLV. That's a test, RLV legs test, which will happen, and so the test will happen in a, you know, what should I say, in one area which is like the Area 51 in India. So no, you don't expect any live streams or things like coming in from that test. Hopefully just a success or maybe some photos or videos, but I am not expecting much. So thank you all for joining in. We will meet again on 23rd with 2 launches, the Electron and the Crew 4. I'll surely stream the Electron launch, but Crew 4 maybe, just maybe, there might be a problem, which we'll see if I'll be able to counter it, because I have work at that time. It's just it's in the middle of afternoon for me, but let's see. Okay, yeah. So thank you all for joining in. I hope you enjoyed the coverage today, and I'm really sorry that today I wasn't able to, you know, dedicate my full what should I say, not actually, I did my best to research all those things, but SpaceX started their stream early this time, so wasn't able to properly tell you those things related to this mission. But there wasn't any, I must say that, because it was an NRO mission, and you don't expect many things coming in from the NRO mission. So that's great, right? Where's the launch, Daniel? The launch has already happened. It was from Vandenberg Air Force Space Station, if I pronounced that right. But yeah, you should just rewind the stream and you will be able to see those amazing landing footage, this was the best landing that I've ever seen from SpaceX Falcon 9, period. Can you suggest me articles on the book on thermonuclear rocket propulsion? So talking about the nuclear rocket propulsion, I don't, you know, have much knowledge about it. It's still, you know, nuclear propulsion is one thing which interests me, but I haven't started my research on it yet, so I won't be able to, I'm not the right person to recommend you those things. But you can search on the internet. What you can see, what I would do if I were you, I would just search on the internet rather than the books. I would first of all read the articles associated with the nuclear propulsion. Start off with Wikipedia. Wikipedia will have all those relevant links which will forward you to the chain of articles or maybe the research papers. So that's how you should you know, go forward with that. And I hope you will be able to read about it. So thank you so much for joining in. It's been a great launch and you were a great audience. Thank you all for your support. My Patreons and the members, Google account and Null Unit, thank you for sponsoring this stream. And until then, this is Priyanshu Roila. You just saw Rocket Gyan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and bye-bye.
Russell has got an injury which is going to force him out of the rest of the IPL, which is a big blow, not just to him but also to all of us as well. Russell, you've made incredible improvements in a short period of time, and we really appreciate all the efforts that you've made. This is just the start for you, mate. You're going to be a big part of this franchise moving forward as well. So, mate, just a big thank you from our side. We'll look after you when you leave here as well. Please stay in touch with everyone as well, and all you guys can make sure you feel plenty of love as well. Thanks for your attention.